What is going on, everybody? On YouTube, Steve here with Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com, coming back to you guys with another live show. I am also one of the admins of the Green Room over at greenroomuniversity.com. A little bit about myself. I quit my job working at the Cracker Barrel and a couple other dead-end jobs where I wasn't making much money, working 9 to 5. I was living at home with my parents. Quit my job about 3 years ago, and I got started with Craigslist, buying and selling bicycles. One thing led to another. I started selling on eBay, went full-time on eBay, ended up moving out into a storage locker, outgrew that, had my inventory at about 1,000 plus clothing items, and ended up getting an office. Did that full time for a couple of years, transitioned into Amazon FBA, Kindle publishing, whole bunch of other various online businesses. And here I am, 2016. I had taken a little time off from eBay for a while, and I went full time Amazon FBA, but now I'm doing eBay part-time. I'm running an Amazon FBA business. And also I am one of the admins of the Green Room, like I said before, and obviously I have a YouTube channel, Raiken Profit. So this month was probably one of my better months on eBay. Did about $6,000 on eBay. Granted, I did sell a really high-end camera that sold for about $2,000, but really passionate about eBay. I think it's a great opportunity. You know, there's a lot of money to be made, specifically with a clothing business on eBay. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Today, we're going to be going through how to start a clothing business on eBay. And this is going to be a complete step-by-step tutorial. So we're going to be covering a whole bunch of things today, from signing up with eBay and getting your PayPal account linked up and how exactly to do all that. The supplies and equipment that you're going to need to start a eBay clothing business, where to find profitable used clothes. Big question everybody always has is, you know, should I sell men's clothing or should I sell women's clothing? So we're going to cover that topic as well. We're going to talk about what are the best clothing items to sell, because there's a lot of various types of clothes. So I'm going to share with you my experience, what I have found to work the best for me, which has yielded me the most profits. We're going to talk about how to determine what to pay for a clothing item, which is huge, and I've got a lot of notes on that. We're going to talk about creating a listing schedule, putting routines, habits, and rituals together in order to help you to magnify your results and succeed much quicker and for the long term. And we're also going to be talking about education and answering a few miscellaneous common questions that people have. So with that being said, let's make sure that the sound is working properly. So I'm going to do a little sound test real quick and answering a few miscellaneous. All right, the sound is working properly. I do want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching live right now. If you are on the Green Room email list, again, I appreciate you guys subscribing to that list. And hopefully we have been able to add value to your life. If you're watching live on YouTube right now, thanks for being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber already, subscribe to this channel, because there's a lot of content coming out, from making money with books to selling clothing to a whole bunch of different facets of reselling. So really excited to have you guys here. If you are excited for the show, I want you to do me one big favor and smash that like button. Hit the like button. We got about 73 people watching live right now. So hit that like button, subscribe, show some love. The comment section is alive and kicking right now. We've got Jason T. Smith in the house saying, woohoo, I see artwork. It's right there, Jason. You inspired this, Jason. I just want to let you know, you're the man who inspired that piece of artwork right there. We've got Jennifer M. in the house. What's going on, Jennifer? Good to see you. Bill Simus in the house. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Wicked Resale. Ed Sandoval, what's going on? We've got Jennifer saying, Raiken is one of the most knowledgeable and generous YouTubers in the resale game. Smashing that like button. I appreciate that. I really do. Just an average guy sharing my journey, sharing the story, and hopefully it can help you out. Susan H., Global Gibby. Got a lot of people in the comment section right now. Jason loves, I don't know what you love. If it's the artwork, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I got a lot of artwork in this house. Trevi Bumps, what's going on, Trevi? So let's dive into the show, guys. Again, smash that like button, show some love, but let's get the show on the road. I will be jumping into the comment sections periodically. So let's get started with number one. If you're brand spanking new to the resale game, maybe you're coming from Amazon and you want to diversify a little bit and make money on eBay, or maybe you've never sold anything in your entire life. How do you get started selling clothing on eBay? Well, the first thing you're going to have to do is sign up for an eBay account. There's a lot of videos out there that can help you out. Just go to eBay, register an account. You're going to have to create your username, your password. They're going to want you to put in your some of your personal information. It's been a while since I did mine, but I'm assuming they're going to probably want a banking account, a credit card on file. This may be with PayPal or this may be with eBay. They're kind of two things that you have to link up together. It's a little different than Amazon, but sign up for an eBay account, fill out all that personal information. Also go over to paypal.com, fill out all that information. I know they're going to want a checking account number over there. They're probably going to want your social security number. So if you're going to be selling under your own name, doing business as your name, you're going to put your social security number. If you're doing if you're running your business under an LLC or a corporation, then I'm assuming you're going to want to put your EIN number, which is pretty much the social security number of a business. So that's step number one right there. You've got to get started. You've got to sign up for your eBay account. You've got to sign up for your PayPal account. And I believe when I did this, it took a couple days because with PayPal, they typically drop like a penny or two into your checking account, and then they're going to want you to go in and confirm what that amount was to show proof that you are, in fact, the owner of that checking account, to be able to link up the PayPal and the eBay. Because when somebody pays through eBay, when they purchase an item, they're actually paying through PayPal. So when you get the money, it's actually going to go into your PayPal account, which then you're going to have to move over into your actual checking account. So that's step number one right there. You're going to want to sign up for that eBay and that PayPal account. Step number two. So you're all signed up. You're ready to roll. You're excited. You're pumped up. You're like, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready to go find some clothing items. Now, we're not at the point yet where you're going to decide if you're going to go with men's clothing or women's clothing. I'm going to give my take on that. But at this point, it's a good idea to get some basic supplies and equipment ready for your business. Now, one tip of advice I have for you guys is don't go out and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on all the top, high-end, most expensive supplies, thinking to yourself that, you know, in order for me to be successful, I've got to have the best equipment, the best supplies. You know, I have to have this software. I need to have this and that. It's not the case at all. What I'd recommend is if you're brand spanking new, get started on a budget. Really, get started on a budget in terms of equipment. You don't need to go out and buy a MacBook Pro. You don't need to buy one of these, which is a Canon 70D camera right here, a DSLR camera. Don't go out and buy one of these. It's really not necessary when you're brand new. When you're brand new, you need to prove to yourself that I can do this. And the easiest way to build confidence and build up your, how do I say it, just your momentum is to just get started selling items. And I tell you right now, if you're like a level 5 out of 10 in terms of like your motivation and you're like, I could do this, and your belief and your faith, if you're a 5 out of 10 on a scale of 1 through 10, once you sell your first item, your second item, your third item, you're going to get to a 6, a 7, an 8, and a 9. And for all you folks out there, you know, green room members, folks who are already in the game reselling for a while, once you get that 5th, 6th, 7th sale and you taste that success, you're hooked. I'm telling you, you're like a fish with a hook through the lip, and there ain't no way you getting out of that lake without coming in the boat. Weird example, but seriously, you will get hooked. So you want to make those first few sales. So what's the basic equipment you're going to need to start your eBay clothing business? Well, you don't really need any equipment, to be honest with you. But if you want to look professional, I'd recommend getting a mannequin. So this is actually a dress form mannequin right here. And it's going to give it a little more of a three-dimensional, is that what it's called? I don't know. But it's going to give it a more kind of crisp look. Now this mannequin right here has a little wooden base, also has a nice little wooden base at the top as well, which actually screws off. But this is called a dress form mannequin. You can find a dress form mannequin for sale on eBay or Amazon. After this live show, I'll be sure to create some links and some resources for you guys. But just type in dress form mannequin on eBay or Amazon, and you can find a bunch of them. This one right here, I believe this one was $85 or $75. So it's not super expensive, but it's definitely worth it. It helps to give your items, a nicer, cleaner look. Helps to differentiate your listings from other sellers, which is really nice. So again, this is going to cost you a little bit of change. So if you're not super serious, you could actually start with a hanging mannequin. Now, the difference between a dress form mannequin and a hanging mannequin is the dress form, it's kind of three-dimensional. It's sitting on a base. It's like a real body, whereas the hanging mannequin it's kind of like a split half body, and it hangs right off the wall. So what you would do is you would put a little nail in your wall and hang it right off. Type in hanging mannequin to eBay and Amazon. Those are about $20 or $30. They're plastic, but it'll do the job. It'll help to differentiate your listings from what most people are doing. And you know what most people are doing? They're throwing their item on the floor and trying to make it look nice. The cat's in the background. It's kind of just a messy look in the background. So even if you just get a dress form mannequin for $20 or $30, you're going to be ahead of the game. All right, I'm just looking through the comments. Looks like we got about 100 people watching. And funny thing is, look at this. I just got an offer on a Pendleton item, and let's do this live right now. Let's check this out. So I just got an offer on let's check it out. Respond to offer. A buyer has made an offer for $24, and you know what? I had it for sale for $29.99. I'm going to accept it. So here it is. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's accept it. Hopefully it goes cha-ching. That would be cool. My cha-ching hasn't been working all the time on my phone lately, but let's see. Is it going to cha-ching? Come on, please do it live. Doesn't want it to cha-ching for me. Anyways, just accepted an offer on a Pendleton item, and that's funny because this is a Pendleton right here. But anyways, in terms of supplies and equipment, a mannequin is definitely something that I'd highly recommend. Also, a few things you're going to want to get. Poly bags and poly mailers right here. The poly bag is nice because when you go to fold up your item, when you sell your Pendleton item, which I'm going to obviously ship out probably today if they pay, I'm going to fold it up nice. I'm going to throw it in this poly bag. Right, I'm going to close it up. Sometimes also another tip is I'll cut a little piece of what are those little laundry sheets that you put in the laundry that smell good? I'll put a little tiny piece in the poly bag with the item. Makes it smell really nice and really fresh. Just don't put too much in it. So that's a little tip right there. Fold this thing up and then throw it in here. Now, when I sell things that are first class mail, so that's 16 ounces or less, which is most t-shirts, button front shirts, some sweaters that are really light, cashmere sweaters and whatnot. Most clothing items that are, on a smaller side, I'm not talking about jeans, I'm not talking about jackets, can go first class. Now, first class is 16 ounces if you're shipping through eBay, shipping online. If you go into the post office in a physical location, they're gonna cap that first class at 13 ounces. So make sure you're shipping through eBay. You're going to get discounts. You're going to save time. It's a big help right there. This is key, guys. This is a key piece of equipment that you need if you're starting your eBay clothing business. Tape measure. Very, very important. Always include measurements when you're selling clothing on eBay. Now, I've talked to other sellers who they say they don't do it. They say they've gotten away with it. They haven't had any problems. That's fine if you want to go that route. But for me personally, I hate getting a return. I hate getting that message from what's his name saying, you know what? I got the Pendleton shirt. Looks great, but it doesn't fit. Doesn't fit. It's a little smaller than I expected for a large or an extra large. So the easiest way to get around that and to be able to cushion yourself against that risk is to include The measurements for a shirt like this, I'm going to include 3 measurements. I'm going to lay this out flat. I'm going to go with the chest measurement, which is from pit to pit, right under these seams. I'm going to also go with the length. I like to do the length from the top of the collar down to the hem of the shirt. And then the third measurement that I like to include is the sleeves. So I'm going to go with this little seam right here at the shoulders down to the cuff. I'm going to include those 3 measurements. In terms of other pieces of equipment you're going to need to get started with your clothing business, obviously you're going to have to take pictures. Like I said, you know, that's a high-end camera. I wouldn't recommend it. If you want to go with a camera, a really good camera is the Canon ELPH series. So the 300 HS, the 330, the 110 HS. The Canon ELPH PowerShot is a little point and shoot camera. It's a little tiny one, but it's a great camera. It does really well. And that's what I used to use. Now I'm listing all of my clothing items on my phone. So I have an iPhone. The eBay app is spectacular. They've improved it tenfold. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not going back to listing on a camera again. It's so much quicker. Pretty much what I do is I find an item, I sell it. I do sell like item. Fills out a lot of the information for me. I write a description, snap the pictures real quick with my iPhone. Bada bing, bada boom. Clothing profits are coming soon. So if you've got a smartphone, if you have an iPhone, it's really, really good. The Android, I don't know. I used to have the Android. It doesn't seem to do as well, but maybe some will beg to differ. In terms of other set equipment and supplies you're going to need, really the last big one that I want to talk about, and this is the most important piece of the puzzle in terms of taking really good pictures. I've talked about this before. A lot of people think that picture quality has to do with the camera, right? That's a $1,500 camera right there. You probably get it for $1,000 on Amazon right now. That camera versus this phone, which one's better? Well, I'll tell you right now, if I'm using that camera and I have horrible lighting, right? If I have horrible lighting, you know, I'm in a dark room, the picture's going to look like crap. I don't care if you have a $5,000, a $10,000, $100,000 camera. You know, I'm kind of going crazy right now, but if you don't have good lighting, you've got nothing. Now, which one's better, the iPhone or that? Well, if there's not really good lighting and I'm using that, but I've got great lighting with this is going to kick that Canon 70D DSLR camera's butt all day long. So lighting's important. How do you get really good lighting? Easiest ways to get yourself a little photography lighting kit. I've got one right now. I'm going to see if I can show you a little bit right here. So those are some lights that I have right there. Got them off Amazon or eBay. I don't remember. Let me move this camera a little more, but you can get them for like 30 or 40 bucks. It's a little lighting kit. It's got the legs. It's got the light that you attach with the umbrellas to diffuse the light. It's really cheap, but get yourself a lighting kit. That's probably the most important thing that you need. If you've got good daylight, if you got the sun coming through, if you got some blinds and stuff, you can get away with it without having the umbrella lights and whatnot. But really, just get them. They're cheap. It'll help you so much. You can take pictures anywhere. Also, you're gonna want a nice clean background. So I've been taking pictures right here. I've been using this nice clean white background with this picture right here. I know some of you folks can't stand it. You say, why do you have that? I like it. I think it does well. But if you don't want to have like a picture or a portrait in the background, you can just shoot against a nice clean white background. If you don't have a clean white background, you can buy a backdrop, which is pretty much 3 bars, and you overlay like some paper. I forget what it's called, but it's like studio photography background paper. And you can just put that on and have yourself a clean background. But really, if you're starting on a budget, just get a clean white background, go against the wall. It will look fine. Let's see what is going on in the comment section. I'm going to take a break, catch my breath for a second. If you guys are enjoying this so far, do me a big favor and hit that like button. Definitely would appreciate that. Helps me out a lot. So Pittsburgh Mike says, I have an Android phone and my computer is faster. I do a lot of clothes and it's easier uploading pics and writing things out. So, you know, everybody's different. Everybody has their own styles. For me personally, you know, in terms of speed, it might be a little faster on a computer, but it's more streamlined for me, and the process is easier. The process for me is easier just doing it on the phone. It's not as easy to write, to put your templates and write, a large description, but I've been experimenting with very short descriptions. Up for sale is blank, good condition. Here are the measurements. Thank you for looking at this listing. Bada bing, bada boom, it's done. And things have been selling. So, that's the cool thing. Everybody has their own opinions, what works best for them. Just try out both and do what you think is best. Steve, I love all the information you give and how positive you are. I made my first few sales on eBay and super excited about doing more. So glad you guys are enjoying this content. So here we are, clearing clutter for clarity. That's a cool name, clearing clutter for clarity. I agree with listing from phone. So some people like the phone, some people like the computer. What's up, Frank Rizzo? Good to see ya. Hunlim 2156. Good to see ya. Jabbar Richardson, trying to get started with this eBay movement. You have great info. I have a few things listed. Sold one thing so far. Keep listing. Keep listing. So anyways, guys, we talked about signing up for eBay, signing up for your PayPal, getting that started. We also touched on some of the important supplies and equipment. There's obviously more, like clothing racks, clothing hangers. A good thing to get is a steamer, because sometimes you're going to have wrinkled clothes. So you're going to want to steam out the wrinkles. There's a lot of various pieces of equipment, but really when you're brand new, like I said, get the poly bags, get the poly mailers, get yourself a hanging mannequin. If you're on a budget, if you've got a few extra bucks, go with the dress form mannequin, get your tape, get your boxes, go to USPS.com, get all the flat rates, get all the boxes so you can ship cheap. If you have a phone, list from your phone. But that's pretty much the equipment. Let's move on to number 3 out of 9. So if you guys are just coming in, we're talking about how to start a clothing business on eBay, a complete step-by-step tutorial. We talked about getting started, signing up for your account, eBay, PayPal. We talked about equipment that you need, some basic stuff. Now we're going to talk about where to find profitable used clothing. So there's one that really stands out to me the most. The best way to get clothing, really cheap clothing, is going to thrift stores. Yes, going to thrift stores, thrifting, hitting the thrift stores. In my area, I live in Connecticut. We have a couple thrift stores that are pretty abundant. We have a couple Salvation Armies. We have a Goodwill, and we have Savers. Those are the 3 big kind of corporate thrift stores that we have in our area, and those keep me busy. Those keep me plenty busy. Granted, I'm only doing it part-time, but when I was doing it full-time and I was listing over 100 clothing items per week, I had no problem finding clothes. Sometimes I had to travel out 30, 40, 50 miles, a couple times per month to load up and take advantage of the half-off sales. But yeah, those are the thrift stores that are in my area. You may also have the same ones. If not, you may have some mom and pop thrift stores. What is that other thrift store? The red, white, and blue. Thrift stores are the best, in my opinion. Thrift stores are the best way to come across profitable clothing. And the reason is because, you walk into any thrift store in America, you're going to typically find that there's 2 items that stick out the most in terms of abundance, and there being the most of that type of item. Number 1 is clothing. Number 2 is books. And that's why I love selling both of those, books and clothing, because when you get numbers like that, when you get tons of clothing pieces, there's opportunities there because things slip through the cracks. The competition can't check all the clothing. And just with numbers, there's opportunities. So thrift stores, that's probably the best way to find clothing. Also, there's garage sales. If you go on the weekends, on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or even estate sales, you can find clothing. I just popped on a really nice camel hair, 100% camel hair Brooks Brothers sport coat the other day for $10 at an estate sale. I hope to sell that for maybe 50 or 60 bucks. But estate sales are great. You can find a lot of vintage items there. Garage sales, you never know. Now, clothing typically isn't abundant at garage sales, but every now and then you'll find something nice. I mean, I've popped on leather jackets. I've popped on vintage items. You never know. There's definitely some good opportunities there. And another way to get started selling clothing, to be able to find clothes to sell, and this may or may not work out for you depending on if you've got a expensive taste in fashion, but start selling clothes around your house, right? Take a look in your closet. Maybe you've lost some weight or maybe you've put on some weight. I don't know, but maybe you have some clothes that you don't wear anymore and you could start listing them up on eBay. So those are the 3 methods I recommend for finding clothes to get started: thrift stores, garage sales, also estate sales, and selling stuff around your house when you're getting started. You know, the bread and butter for me was always thrift stores, always thrift stores. So I'm going to jump in the comments right now, answer some questions. See what is happening in here. Appreciate all the likes, guys. It looks like we're up to 71 likes so far, so I definitely appreciate that. If you guys haven't already, I want to mention real quick, if you haven't already gotten our free book in the green room, 100 amazing items to resell, get that in the description. That's a little free gift we have, and yeah, you'll definitely enjoy it. Axel says, I'm fortunate to have Goodwill, Savers, and Salvation Armies in every corner here in Massachusetts. So yeah, I've run through Massachusetts. I've gone through Springfield. I know they have a few Savers over there. Chicopee, Mass. There's a lot of opportunities. What is it? Framingham, I believe there's a Savers, if I'm pronouncing that town correctly. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of opportunities for clothing in Massachusetts if you live out there. So Kevin Adams said, you said you're only doing this part-time. Why not full-time anymore? So clothing is very, very time-consuming. It's very time-consuming. I also run an Amazon business. I'm an admin of the Green Room. I've got a few other businesses as well. I'm running a YouTube channel full-time. So there's only so many hours in the day. And for me, I'm very interested in having a diverse income. I like to have multiple income streams, and I have about 4 or 5 main ones that I focus on. So the reason why I'm not full-time is just because I've got a few other things going on. And for me personally, it doesn't align going full-time 100% with eBay with my goals. But for you, it may. I was full-time eBay for 2 years. So, you know, I always say this, each year that you're a reseller, it's a stepping stone to something new. You know, you might start with, like, for example, me, I started with Craigslist and selling bikes, and that was a stepping stone to eBay. And then eBay was a stepping stone to Amazon FBA and Kindle publishing and all these other things. And then eventually you get to the point where you can choose if you want to juggle a few things or if you want to go full-time into something, but that's up to you and your goals. A lot of people are always worried about, you know, should I do what they're doing? Or, you know, I see this person going full-time. That means I should go full-time. eBay might not be a good fit for you full-time. It might be good part-time. You know, if you're working a full-time corporate job, it might be smart only to do it 10 or 15 hours per week. It really depends on your goals. That's why it's so important to have goals and have a strong sense of where you want to go in this life and what direction you're moving in with your business and goals and whatnot. What do you do when USPS has the product delivered? Customer says he didn't get it. If they open up a claim, I just send the tracking number to PayPal and I usually win. So as long as you have the tracking, if you're shipping directly through the eBay system, you'll automatically have that tracking. If you're shipping on your own and you're going to the post office, which don't do it, you're wasting a lot of time and money, you'll just upload your tracking. So, I just got another offer. Man, eBay is on fire today. So I just got an offer for, let's check this live. So I actually have a Black & Decker power scissors. It was selling for $79.99. Just got an offer for $50 on that. So I'm going to think about that, but pretty cool. I don't know why my notifications are going off, but my cha-chings aren't going off. So last month I only did, I was going very, very part-time with my eBay business, and I sold, I don't know, like 1,000 items, $1,000 or not even, I don't even know, like $1,000 in July. And then August, I did about 6,000. So here are my numbers so far. 106 items sold for $6,928.54. So you guys could see that right there, that I actually sell on eBay. But anyways, let's keep moving along. All right, so let's talk about, should you sell women's or men's clothing? A lot of people, they always ask, Steve, which route should I take? I know that you sell men's clothing, but, do you think there's a better opportunity with the women's clothing? So I can only speak from my own experience, and my experience over the last 3 years has been selling men's clothing. So I've only sold men's clothing. I've experimented with a couple women's items. I sold just recently, I sold a North Face fleece jacket. It was a women's, sold for $30, picked it up for $5 from a thrift store. So, I sell a little bit of women's clothing, but I just don't have a ton of experience. From my experience and from what I've heard, I think men's clothing is the way to go. From what I've heard from other sellers is women's clothing is a tougher game. As you know, women's bodies, they're a little different than men's. They're a little pickier, as you know, and it's a lot easier to get returns with women's clothing. That's what I've heard. But I highly recommend you jump into men's clothing, because from my experience, from selling well over $100,000 in clothing on eBay over the last couple of years, I was full-time at one point. There's a lot of opportunities with men's clothing, and we're going to talk about a little later on what types of clothing specifically you should deal with when you're first getting in. But I think that men's clothing poses a great opportunity. There's so many items that you can buy and sell. There's a big demand for it, and guys want to look good. They want to look good, but most guys don't want to go to the store and spend 50, 60, 70 bucks for a Ralph Lauren. They'd rather come on eBay and pay 15, 20 bucks. So there's a great opportunity to make money on eBay with men's clothing. And I'd recommend, just from my experience, I've done it. I've succeeded with it. I have plenty of friends who are full-time eBay sellers selling men's clothing. You can do it. You can make it happen. There's no doubt. So in my opinion, if you were to ask me which route should you take, I would say men's clothing. Obviously, it's super biased because I've never really had much experience selling women's clothing. But the return rates are fairly low with men's clothing. I've heard, again, I've never really sold much of it, but I've heard that women's clothing could pose a threat in terms of returns, and they're a little pickier. So from my experience, I would say go men's clothing. So what type of clothing sells best? Let's just talk in terms of men's clothing. What types of men's clothing sells best? To be honest with you, it all sells. It all sells. But let's talk in the sense of someone who's brand spanking new, and maybe they're on a budget. Maybe they only have a couple $100 a month to spend. What type of items sell best on a budget in terms of, spending money, acquiring it, putting out your money for the cost of goods? What should you focus on? If you're brand spanking new, I'd say the best direction is to start off with more of the simple, basic items. So I'm talking about T-shirts. I'm talking about short sleeve button front shirts. Almost knocked into my pal right here. Long sleeve shirts like this. Long sleeve shirts, casual shirts, button front shirts, shorts, jeans, simple things like that. Very simple things like that. I would say, if you're new, I would probably wait a little while, maybe 30 to 60 days until you start messing with blazers and sport coats and suits and more higher end advanced items like that. You can get into it if you're willing to study and educate yourself. And I actually have a full out course on how to sell blazers, sport coats, and suits. It's called Blazing Profits. So if you type into Google Blazing Profits, Raiken, or, Blazing Profits, you'll find it. It's a whole course. It's a 250 page book, videos, interviews, templates, all that stuff. So if you're brand new, I would get Blazing Profits. I wouldn't try doing it yourself if you're first starting off. But really, I would say stick with the button front shirts, the shorts, the simple, easy to sell items. There's really not much to it. And I found that like a really good staple is always button front shirts. I love button front shirts, and there's so many brands out there. Let me show you a couple items that I have right here. This is a really good brand right here. This is Nast. I don't know if you can see that label. N-A-T-N-A-S-T. Here is 100%, I believe this is silk, button front shirt with spread collar, long sleeves, cool design. Nast, it's an awesome brand. Vineyard Vines, one of my favorite brands. Focus on some high-end Italian brands, Canali, Ermenegildo, Yegna. There's so many profitable brands out there. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I could go on and on days for days talking about what brands you should buy. Here's another good brand. I also forgot to mention jackets. Jackets are very profitable sweaters. Here's a nice little fleece jacket right here by the brand of Patagonia. Patagonia, one of my favorite brands. I love Patagonia. If you could find the fleeces that have like unique colors or cool patterns or designs, cha-ching. I'm talking really big money. I think I paid, I don't know if the price tag's still on it, $4 or $5. This should probably go between 30 and 40 bucks. I'm assuming. I got to do a little more research. Dress pants. You can make really good money with dress pants. This is a really good brand right here. The brand is Zanella, Zanella. Great pair of dress pants right here. Very nice. Ended up paying half off of $7.99, so I paid $4. Probably sell these for $20 to $35, depending on how high I want to price it. And here's another great brand to mess with. The brand is called Nudie Jeans, Nudie, Nudie Jeans. Really good pair of jeans right there. Awesome brand. But there's so many brands out there to focus on, from Ralph Lauren to Brooks Brothers. Like I said, Patagonia, Nudie Jeans, Viella. There's a million brands out there, guys. So do your research, study up. I also have a few other books, 101 Killer Clothing Brands and 102 Killer Clothing Brands. So that's 203 brands right there. Those are 2 different ebooks that I sell as well. If you're interested in those, check the description. But there's so many brands out there, so many brands that can make you money. But if you're new, focus on the casual shirts, the jeans, the shorts, the dress pants. Just get started. There's so many various items out there. All right. How to determine what to pay. So you're at a thrift store, and let's just say that you come across this Patagonia item. You're flipping through. You know what motion this is, right? Hold on. How am I positioned? Okay. You're flipping through the brands, boom, 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 and then you see this, and you're like, whoa, Patagonia. I heard about that from Steve, made in the USA. You haven't seen the tag yet. We're going to have a little example here. You haven't seen the tag yet. You don't know how much it's selling for, but how do you get in your mind the maximum price that you'd be willing to pay for that? So what I would do is I would pull out my cell phone. I would go over to eBay. I would go to search. I would type in Patagonia men's fleece full zip large, right? And I would look for a similar item on here. Now, these are all the items that are for sale. What you're going to want to do is hit filter, show more and sold listings. Make sure the condition is used. Make sure that it is within the United States. If you're selling within the United States, if you sell buy it now versus auction, which we're going to talk about later, make sure you choose that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just flip through. I'm going to flip through, and I'm going to try to find a similar item which is sold, right? I want to find a Patagonia that's a full zip, that's the same color, that looks similar. Buy it now. Auction, a lot of times auctions are going to sell for way less than it's actually worth if you're willing to wait a month or two, which I highly recommend. But again, depending on your business model, it's going to differ for you. But find a similar item. This is the same way that they do it in real estate, right? For any of the real estate agents out there, the number one way that you typically price an item is based on comparable sales. What have other houses, what have other 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom houses, same square footage, same whatever in that neighborhood sold for over the last 6 months, over the last year? And you're going to take that information, those comparable sales, and you're going to pretty much assess, how similar is it? And you're going to price it based on that. It's the same way with eBay, right? Same way with a Pendleton item. I would look it up, Pendleton large plaid sold listings. So I see one that sells for 25, one for 40, one for 30, one for 38. You can kind of gauge what it is, right? So let's just say that we gauge that Patagonia is selling for 30 bucks all day long. The next thing that you're going to have to factor is the eBay fees, the eBay and PayPal fees. So eBay fees and PayPal fees combined is going to be about 12%. So 12% of $30 is a $30 sale is going to be a little over $3. So let's just say $4. So we have $4, just guessing, that is going to be taken for fees. Okay. Next thing is we're going to have to estimate shipping. So for this is going to take experience. This is going to be the hard part. You already know this is more than 16 ounces. You can feel it. So we're not going to be able to ship it first class. Your next method is going to be probably a flat rate bubble mailer. If you can fit that in, honestly, I don't think that will fit. So probably your next best bet, there's not going to be any flat rates that are going to fit this unless you could jam it into an envelope, but that's risky business. I wouldn't advise doing that. You're probably going to be looking at just putting it in a plain box or possibly going FedEx Smart Post. But let's just say there's a couple options, guys. There's really a couple options. But let's just say we're going to estimate that it's going to be, and again, it may differ because if you're in Connecticut and you ship priority in a brown box to New York, it's going to be like $5 or $6. But if you ship it to California, it's going to be 12. So let's just say it's going to be $8 to ship. Just going to take a median. So you got $4 fees. You're at $8 shipping costs so far. So now you're at $12 already in overhead. So you take it, you open it up, and you see that it's selling for $10, right? You see it's selling for $10. That's going to be your cost of goods right there. So now your cost of goods is $10. So you've got the $4 in fees, the $8 in shipping, the $12, excuse me, the $10 in cost of goods. That's going to bring you to a grand total of $22. Now also, you've got to factor in supplies and equipment, which, you know, you could just add $1 to that, even though it's not going to be that much, but it is what it is. Also, you need to factor in, I always add a couple bucks for factoring in returns and different things like that. But let's just say you're in it for $23 right now. $23, right? $4 fees, $8 shipping. That's $12 plus $10 cost of goods, tax and everything. $1 for just factoring in returns, different things like that, supplies. $23. So you're in it for $23 if you were to sell it, which would leave you with, if you sold it for $30, $7 profit. Is it worth it for you to invest $10 to make $7? Is it? Now, to determine that, there's a bunch of different factors you're going to have to take into consideration, right? How strong is the sold listings? Are a bunch of them selling for $30, or is one selling for 22, 128, 124, and then one for 40, and that's how you're getting 30? How strong are the sold listings? How confident are you? How strong is the brand recognition? Is it a very, very sought after brand? Is it popular? Patagonia is a great brand. And I can tell you right now, just from experience, I'd say that that's a good solid $30 fleece jacket, if not more. So to answer my own question, I'm confident in the sales price, the sales history. I'm confident in the brand recognition. Also, you need to take into consideration, you know, how much money do you have? Are you willing at this point, if you're brand new and you only have $100 a month to spend, are you willing to spend that $10 to only make $7? You know, granted, that is what, 70% ROI? I don't know. Is that worth it for you, right? Maybe your business model and what you're trying to focus on is spend $2 or spend $3 to make $40, right? Which is possible, you know. Pay $3 in the estate sale for a CC Filson 100% wool vest, sell it for, you know, 60. At the end of the day, you walk with 40. That stuff happens all the time. You know, you find a Ralph Lauren jacket, super rare, or a crazy, you know, Big Bear polo sweater, you pay $5, sell it for $200. I mean, these are hard to come by items, right? It's not going to happen every day, but is it worth it for you? What's your business model? That's why you need to take some time to ask yourself, how much money do I have to spend? What's my risk tolerance? How fast am I looking to turn items? And that's another factor. How quick does this sell? Take a look at the sold listings and look at the dates. You know, if today's what, September 2nd, and you see that one sold September 1st, August 29th, August 24th, August 23rd, you know, there's some good sales velocity there. But if you're looking and you see that, you know, it's sold July 4th and then May 20th, I mean, they're far and few in between. So it might take a while to get your $10 investment back. So how do you determine what to pay? Look at the fees, look at the shipping cost, factor in the cost of goods, factor in your profit. What's your time worth? You should have a number in your head of what you are worth. Are you looking to earn 10 bucks an hour? Are you looking to buy a job? Or are you trying to make 30 bucks an hour, 40 bucks an hour? That's up to you. Factor in the speed of sale. Factor in the equipment, supplies, and overhead. Factor in the returns, because you are going to have a certain percentage of items you sell that get returned. And study the sold listings for comparable sales. That's super important right there. All right, so I'm just taking a look. Jason T. Smith says if you have muscles, it would fit. So yeah, if you've got muscles, you can fit that into a flat rate bubble mailer if you can. But not everybody has those Jason T. Smith muscles. If you guys aren't following Jason T. Smith, subscribe to him right now. He's been putting on some phenomenal live shows. Last time I checked in, he had a permanent marker written all over his forehead. So if that's not exciting, I don't know what is. All right, let's keep moving. We're going to be answering up opening up the floor in a few minutes for questions. Let's talk about creating a listing schedule routine. So it's imperative for your success to get into a habit. Create a habit or ritual of listing. I can tell you right now from a lot of experience of selling on eBay, selling on Amazon, selling on Craigslist, from doing all different types of businesses. The more consistent you are when you're playing in somebody else's sandbox, which is the case, you're playing in eBay sandbox, the more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. The harder you work, the more you list, the better chance is that you're going to make more sales. Now, there's obviously a lot of factors that come into play, but just to generalize things, the more you list, the more you put out there to the world, the more money you're going to make. So with that being said, you want to be consistent with your efforts, right? You want to be consistently listing items, whether it's on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. That could be 5 items a day, Monday through Friday. Or maybe you are working a corporate job or you're juggling different businesses, like in my case, and I try to dedicate a couple days to bang out a bunch of listings. The other day, I banged out 24 listings in about an hour and a half, just went balls to the walls crazy. And that was great for me. But when I used to be full-time, we used to try to list 10 items a day, 10 to 20 items a day. Then there was another time where I had an employee that I hired, and he would come into the office and bang everything out in one day. It really depends on your situation. You want to handcraft, tailor it to your own needs. My needs are completely different than yours. Your needs are completely different than the next guy's watching this video. So tailor it to your own needs. But I do want to say it's going to be a little slow at first. You are going to be limited to an extent when you first get started if you don't already have a eBay account that's built up, if you've never sold before, because you're going to get hit with something called selling limits. Selling limits. What does that mean? Well, eBay is going to pretty much put a limit to how many items you can sell and how much money you can sell within a certain time frame. I don't know off the top what that is. I had recently gotten my girlfriend, her eBay account started up, and I remember they had limited to like 1 item. And then when you verified something, they opened it to 5. And then, I don't know, once you sell a certain amount of items after 30 days, you can call them up and ask them, can you increase my selling limits? I don't know exactly how it all works. Maybe some of the folks in the comments could be a little more specific. It's been a while for me, but you're going to get hit with selling limits. So make sure you provide great customer service and make sure that you just list some of your best stuff up at first. But even then, you're going to get capped off at a certain amount of money. So start your business 2 months before you're ready to start your business, if that makes any sense. Don't start your business with 100 items ready to list and you're down to your last penny and you need $1,000 or else you're going to freaking not be able to pay your bills. Don't do that, because you're going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck really quick with the eBay selling limits. But after about a month, 2 months, 3 months, they're going to open up the floodgates to you. So just know that. I like to focus on, and I like to recommend to people if they're brand new, focus on fast turning stuff, build your momentum, let yourself know that it actually works, because you know what? You can watch this video and that's great. You're learning and you're brand new. You've never sold anything. I could be as enthusiastic, passionate. I could tell you, look what I've done, or I've sold for 3 years, or check it out. I did $6,000 last month. Whoop-de-doo. It's not doing anything for your confidence. because your confidence is pretty much predicated on what you've encountered and what you've done. If you've never sold anything, your confidence is going to be down here. That's why you got to start selling items to build up your confidence. And with confidence comes momentum. And with momentum comes clarity, purpose, and massive action. So just start selling items, start listing items, get the momentum build up, and try to focus on faster turning items. You could focus on long tail items and, suits that, may take 9 months to sell for $300 and you put up 25, but that's doing nothing for your confidence at first. So my recommendation, I would honestly mess with lower profit items at first that turn quicker to build up your momentum and build up your account and build up your feedback. Also, another thing to keep in mind is when you're new, your money isn't going to be delivered to you as quick. I remember when I recently started up my girlfriend's account, she had sold a couple items. She sold a tie. She sold a vest for like $25. And I said to her, did you get the money? Did you move it into your account yet? And she said, it's still pending. And it was like over a week. So I don't know the specifics of exactly how it works, but I know when you're new, they want you to prove yourself and they want to make sure that the customer's happy. They don't want you coming in, selling something, scamming a buyer, taking the money and bouncing off to another world. So they are going to hold your money up a little bit. You are going to be faced with selling limits when you are first getting started, but this is really good. And it's really smart that eBay does this because this assures that when you're brand spanking new, you're providing great customer service and you're adding value and you're taking care of your customers, right? eBay customers aren't going to be coming onto eBay anymore if the new sellers are coming and causing chaos and it's the wild, wild west and poor customer service is provided. That's going to hurt eBay's brand. It's going to hurt the quality of the experience. And overall, it's a good thing that they do this. I know it stinks when you're brand new and you're like, they're limiting me to 5 items at $150. Like, what am I going to do with that? It is what it is, but people in the past have abused the system and, they were forced to call their hand. So it is what it is. Just be prepared. So we ran through it all, guys. That's it. That is the complete tutorial beginner's guide to getting started, building a profitable, hopefully a profitable clothing business on eBay. We talked about starting your account, eBay, PayPal, linking them all together, supplies and equipment that you need, where to find profitable used clothing. Discussed a little bit about my opinion on should you go men's or women's clothing. I know it was very biased. What type of clothing sells best, how to determine what to pay, creating a listing schedule, and all that good stuff. So we've got 142 people watching live. If you guys have found any value at all in this video, smash that like button, show some love. It really lets me know that I'm doing a good job and I'm helping people out. If you have any suggestions for future videos or anything that you'd like improved or discussed, leave a comment. Definitely open to suggestions to continue improving these videos. If you're not already a Green Room member and you want to get around like-minded people and you want to learn from people who've already done it, consider joining the Green Room, greenroomuniversity.com. That's a private membership group that I run alongside with a couple other hustlers and resellers. And that group is up to, I think we're up to over 700, almost 750 members over there. So it's really a great community over there. If you're not ready to join or you're on a budget, get the free book below, 100 Amazing Items to Resell. That book will get you started with selling all types of items from clothing to clothing accessories, ties, belts, electronics, puzzles, video games. There's a million things in there. Well, only 100 items, but it feels like a million things that you can buy and sell from garage sales, thrift stores, pawn shop. The list goes on and on to flip on eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, and even more than that. So smash that like button. Looks like we got 111 likes right now. So that's pretty cool. I want to mention something that Alex mentioned. What's up to Alex? He actually used to live in Massachusetts, but I believe he lives in Vegas now, I want to say. So hopefully you are doing well. He mentioned regional rate A, and I'm also going to mention regional rate B boxes. So these are boxes that do have weight limits on it, but if you ship to a certain region, you can save a lot of money. So, there's so many ways to ship items, guys, right? You can ship this item priority flat, regional rate A, regional rate B, bubble mailer. There's so many ways. There's FedEx, there's UPS. Maybe we'll do a show on that one day where we cover all the various shipping methods, but the easiest way is to honestly ship through the eBay system and just experiment with all the different methods to see which one is cheapest for you based on the weight, location, size. There's a ton of factors, but thank you, Alex, for bringing that up. Good to see you, Debbie Keith. Glad to have you here. Virginia Treasure Guy, what's going on? We got VA in the house. So Fantic Life asks, does the listing duration affect the sale of clothes? Like, should I pick a longer duration or a shorter? Typically, when I sell clothes, there's two main methods that I'll do. Mostly, I'm going 30-day buy it now with the best offer. That's just what I prefer. Or I'll run a 7-day auction, right? Recently, I've been selling a couple items, 7-day auction, just to get them moving, because I'm really trying to focus on sales velocity and keeping inventory moving. I used to have a business model which was very long tail. It worked out well. I was doing anywhere between $5 to $8 grand per month selling used clothing for a couple of years, but I worked up a pretty big inventory, and I don't have that much space right now. So I'm trying to keep items moving. So auction's a great way to keep your items moving. I would say 7-day. If you do a 3-day or a 10-day, they're going to hit you with an extra fee. But really, I'd say overall, the best method is to go buy it now. Best offer or not best offer. I know some people who like it, some who don't. So, but I would say buy it now. 30-day is probably one of the best ways to sell it. So someone was asking, should we start with a female mannequin or a male? Can you get a female and then turn it around for men's clothes? Frank, stop being a troll. I'm just kidding. He made a joke in that comment, so I'm messing around with you. You know, if you turn it around, I don't know. If it doesn't look weird, I have a feeling it's going to look a little odd that way. So I would say just get both. Get a dress form. If you're going to be heavy in men's clothing, but you're going to sell a little bit of women's, invest the big bucks into 75, 80 bucks into the dress form mannequin for a male. And then spend maybe the 20 bucks or 25 bucks for the hanging mannequin female. So that's probably what I would do. So I'm in the comment section right now answering questions. Arnold Braun, I believe that's your name. Steve, vids are always great. Thank you. Appreciate you watching. Thanks, Dennis Weaver. Appreciate it. Dash, Mr. Dash Sweezy in the house. Do jeans fit on dress form? I've never seen you actually list jeans. So as of late, let me take a step back. What I used to do is I used to have this little wooden, I don't even know what it was called, but I would kind of hang my jeans over it and take pictures that way. Another thing you can do is you could get one of those little wall hangers. It's adhesive, and you stick it up onto the wall. It's like a little wall hanger, and you get the what are those things called that have the 2 metal clips? Like if you see at the thrift store, they'll have the 2 metal clips, the hangers, and it'll hang the jeans. What I used to do is I used to clip something on the wall, hang the jeans against the background, and take my pictures that way. Or what I've been doing lately is I've just been folding it up nicely on the carpet or on the table and just taking pictures that way. I haven't had any problems. So we've sold a couple pairs of True Religion jeans lately, going about that method. So really, I don't think it's a big deal. You could hang it against the wall. You could put it on a carpet, a table. I think either way, you should be fine. Just take a bunch of pictures. Yes, Prof Sales, Prof Sales. He actually hosted a video on my channel a couple months ago. Great guy. He's got a video where he's been whole series where he's talking about selling jeans and whatnot. So super educated. I believe he's a professor as well. So he's a great communicator, a great teacher. Check him out, Prof Sales on YouTube. How do you price an item when doing best offer? How high on price? I like to price it comparable to other items. Now, if I'm going with a more quick flip, fast nickel approach, I'm gonna price it based on the lower end. If I'm going more of the slow dime approach, where I don't mind waiting 2 to 3 times as long to get that high price, then I'll price it higher. But it really depends on your business model. Nobody could answer that question. How much money are you willing to risk? How long are you willing to wait? What's your business model? You've got to find out those answers. So I'm just looking through the comment section. Again, guys, I appreciate you all watching. If you haven't already, hit that like button. It's a great way to show that you enjoyed these free videos. If you have any suggestions for future videos, feel free to ask away. So Crafty Caregiver, his mom shows us oldies can work our butts off. I want to be just like her when I grow up. Yeah, so I actually got my mother into reselling about over 2 years ago. Now, she doesn't sell on eBay. She sells on Amazon FBA. It's a little easier for her. She mainly focuses on books, but she's over 60 years of age. So for any of you folks who think, once I hit 60, once I hit 61, it's over, I can't do it. You can do it, and there's countless others. We met a couple in Austin, Texas, who they're green room members, and big shout out to Les and his wife. I don't know how old they are, but they're making it happen, right? They're so vibrant, they're so alive, and they're making it happen. So don't think, once you're over 50 or once you're over 60 or once you're over 70 that it's over. I know plenty of people that are making it happen, and my mother, she's killing it. She's absolutely killing it. I believe she did over, hopefully she doesn't mind me telling, but I think she did over $4,000 on Amazon for the month of August. So she kicked butt. She actually sold a book for $253, and super proud of her. She's been doing it. She's been making it happen. And she actually just texted me. I'm sorry, this sound should be off. I apologize for that. But yeah, there's so many opportunities out there. It's ridiculous. I'm going to leave you guys with these last words of advice. If you want to be successful on eBay, if you want to have a successful clothing business, if you want to make it happen, if you want to rise to the top, you got to work hard. Start waking up early in the morning. Start putting time aside each and every day if you're working a full-time job. The business doesn't care about your excuses. The clothing business doesn't care that you have a family. The clothing business doesn't care that you're busy. The clothing business doesn't care that you're tired. All the clothing business cares about is listing, providing value to the market, and then in turn, the market will buy the item and put money in your bank account. The business doesn't care what your excuses are. You've got to put in time. You've got to put in time. You've got to put in effort. You've got to make time. The more time you put in, the more effort you put forth, the more that you focus on building a business. And the key word is focus. You get what you focus on in life. Have you ever noticed that when you focus on eating better foods, you focus on exercising, you focus on, learning about different various brands to buy and sell, you focus on optimizing your listings, you focus on traffic to your listings. You notice what you focus on, you get more of. Focus on the business, focus on it. Watch YouTube videos, right? Watch YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, join a community, join the Green Room, greenroomuniversity.com. It's a membership group that I run with a couple other guys. There's another guy in there who's been selling for over 3 years, super successful, travels all around. He also has a full-time job, makes it happen. We have another guy in there, the Bonafide Hustler, who's been selling for over 12 years, quit his corporate job. He had a 6-figure job. He quit. Now he makes a full-time with eBay, with Amazon. He's also one of the admins of the Green Room. Get around like-minded people. If it's not the Green Room, get into a free Facebook group or just interact in the comment section. But you've got to get around like-minded people. You've got to focus on what you want. You've got to put effort. The harder you work, the better results you're going to get. Now, of course, being smart, creating systems, finding ways to leverage yourself is also going to play an important role. But at the end of the day, hard work is going to create the most results for you. The more you go out thrifting, the more items you buy, the more you list, the more you put out there to the marketplace, the more you're going to sell. At the end of the day, the business doesn't care what excuses you have. If you don't list, if you don't put your items out there, if you don't make it happen, if you don't ship on time, the business isn't going to thrive. So that's a little bit of tough love right there. I'm pretty much giving you the advice that I wish that I had when I first got started, because I remember when I started, I had so many excuses. If I had a penny for every excuse I've had, I'd be rich. But anyways, guys, go make it happen. I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you've not already had a chance to like the video, do it right now. Take your finger, put it on the mouse, scroll it down and smash that like button. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys thought of this video. If you're not already a Green Room member, check it out. Link in the description. greenroomuniversity.com. We've got monthly and yearly options over there. Tons of training videos. We've got an awesome community. We've got private shows. We've got a ton of books. If you want to learn about clothing, get into the green room because I've got all my books for free in there. 101 killer clothing brands, 102 killer clothing brands. I believe Blazing Profits is in there now. I have to double check. If it's not, I'm going to put it in there right after this show. So right there alone, that's already $100, $70, $80 worth of clothing books, plus about 6 or 7 other guides, courses, training videos. We have an Amazon FBA beginners course in there. We have an eBay beginners course in there, a video course. We've got a lot of stuff. So consider joining that. If you're on a budget, get the free book, 100 Amazing Items to Resell. But until next time, guys, go make it happen. You're capable of so much. You have what it takes. Just work hard. You don't have to be the smartest, the fastest, the brightest, but you have to work hard. Don't let anybody else outwork you. All right, guys, I'll see ya. Talk to you soon and have a great day. Bye.